The power of forgiveness, a lesson from the cross. Betrayal, pain, hurt, these emotions can hold us captive. We want revenge, we want justice. But there is another way, a path shown thousands of years ago by a man in the most painful moment of his life. It is the path of forgiveness. The story takes place on Mount Golgotha. Jesus is suffering on the cross. The soldiers, the crowd, those who betrayed him, they were all there. In that moment of extreme agony, instead of cursing or resentment, he uttered words that moved the universe. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This was not just a prayer. It was a declaration of the power of forgiveness. Why are these words so powerful? Because they are not based on the other person's deservingness. Jesus didn't say, "Forgive them because they deserve it." He said, "Forgive them because they do not know." This is a profound lesson in empathy. He understood that hatred and cruelty often come from ignorance, hurt, or fear. Applying it to modern situations. The friend who betrayed you. Think about a friend who betrayed you. Do you want revenge? Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to forget the betrayal or allow it to happen again. Forgiveness means you free yourself from anger. Just as Jesus did, you allow yourself to be released from the burden of hatred. The family member who hurt you. The most painful hurt comes from a family member. Forgiveness in this case is not easy, but you can start by understanding that they, too, are imperfect human beings. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself for your own healing. Societal hatred. In our society, we see so much hatred between different groups of people, races, or political affiliations. Forgiving our enemies is not just a personal act, it's a path to healing a whole community. It starts with seeing the human behind the hatred. Jesus' teaching from the cross is not an easy request. It is a challenge. It is a choice. You can choose to hold on to your anger, or you can choose to set yourself free. Today, try to forgive someone. Start by praying for them. Remember, forgiveness is not weakness. It is the ultimate strength. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. We often think of forgiveness as a noble act we do for others. But what about the burden we carry every day? Anger and resentment can become invisible chains that bind us. Today, we'll explore why forgiveness is not easy, but it is the only way to free ourselves. In the Bible, Jesus not only taught us to forgive others but also showed us the power of liberation that comes with it. He forgave those who crucified him, not because they deserved it, but to fulfill his mission. He also forgave Peter, who denied him 3 times, and then gave him a second chance. This act of forgiveness allowed Peter to become a different person, no longer haunted by his past mistakes. So, what is true forgiveness? It's not agreeing with what happened, nor is it forgetting. It's an act of letting go of the power others have over your emotions. It's letting go of the desire for revenge and freeing yourself from the bondage of pain. There is a powerful story about a woman named Corrie ten Boom, a survivor of a Nazi concentration camp. After the war, she came face to face with one of the guards who had mistreated her and her family. Resentment welled up inside her. But when she remembered Jesus' teaching, she reached out her hand and said, "I forgive you." In that moment, she felt a massive weight lift from her shoulders. Corrie wrote, "Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to resentment and the handcuffs of hatred. It is a power that breaks the chains of bitterness and the shackles of anger." Another example is Chris Williams, a man who lost his wife and 2 children in a drunk driving accident caused by a teenager. Instead of seeking revenge, he chose to forgive. He said, "Forgiveness was the only thing that could lift me out of the abyss of anger and bitterness." This forgiveness gave him the strength to heal and find peace, even in his deepest sorrow. So, what burden of resentment or hatred are you carrying? Remember that forgiveness is not something you do for them. It is something you do for yourself. It is a choice. Choose to be free. Choose to heal. Choose to forgive so you can live a fuller and more peaceful life. The unspoken truth about forgiveness. We've talked about the power of forgiveness, how it frees us from anger and resentment. But what happens when forgiveness is misunderstood? What happens when we forgive someone, yet they continue to hurt us? Today, we're going to talk about a sensitive but essential topic: when forgiveness isn't enough. In the Bible, Jesus taught us to forgive, but he never condoned injustice or abuse. He overturned the tables of the money changers in the temple, spoke out against hypocrisy, and protected the vulnerable. The lesson here is that forgiveness is not permission for wrongdoing to continue. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to put yourself in a situation to be hurt again. Forgiveness is an internal process, a release for yourself. It is not a license for others to keep abusing or harming you. When you forgive, you release the burden of hatred, but you also have the right to set clear boundaries to protect yourself. Applying it to real-life situations. Forgiving an abuser. Think about an abusive situation. Forgiving an abuser is a courageous act, a way for you to heal your own wounds. But it doesn't mean you have to return to that relationship. In this case, forgiveness must go hand in hand with setting clear boundaries. It's about saying, I forgive you, but I cannot allow you to hurt me again. A friend who constantly talks badly about you. If a friend constantly talks badly about you or hurts you, you can forgive them in your heart. But you are not obligated to continue that relationship. You can say, I forgive you, but I need space to heal. A toxic family member. How do you forgive a toxic family member? You can forgive them and release the pain. But to protect your mental health, you have the right to limit contact or even cut off the relationship. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to endure more. It means you choose your own peace. So, if you're in a difficult situation, remember that forgiveness is an act of strength, not weakness. But it also goes hand in hand with self-protection. Forgive to free yourself, but set boundaries to protect yourself. Remember, you deserve to be at peace, and sometimes, that peace only comes when you dare to walk away and protect yourself.